The night was dry as bone, and the wind carried dust-like whispers of old sins across the dying town of Stillwater. The moon hung crooked, pale as a ghost's eye, and down the lonesome road came a single rider, tall in the saddle, broad-shouldered, dressed in black. His horse's hooves struck sparks off the hard earth. He rode like a man who owned the night. In his gloved hand, he held a folded letter marked with the seal of blood-red wax. Inside it was a debt, a name, and the promise of collection. By dawn, he would have what he came for. At the far end of town stood a ramshackle house leaning against the horizon. The paint had long since peeled away, and the fence sagged as if it shared the weight of its owner's shame. Inside, a single candle burned beside a weary man, coughing into his hands. His daughter stood behind him, her eyes dark as wet soil after rain. Her name was Elara Boone. When she heard the hooves, her hand froze over the basin. "Pa," she whispered, "someone's coming." Her father looked up with a tremor in his jaw. "Stillwater's been quiet since spring," he said softly. "Ain't no one rides out here without reason." The door swung open before he could stand. The stranger filled the doorway like a shadow that blocked out hope. His spurs jingled once, cold as the sound of chains. "Boone," the man said. His voice was low, iron-wrapped. "You owe $20,000. It's time to pay." Elara's father tried to stand, failed. I sent word. I just need time." The stranger cut him off with a stare sharp enough to stop a heartbeat. "Time's done. You had your chance. You signed the papers. You knew what'd happen when the ranch changed hands." Elara stepped forward, chin lifted. "And who are you to come demand it in the middle of the night?" His gaze turned to her. For the first time, something shifted behind his cold composure. "The name's Colt Merrick, owner of the Merrick Cattle Company. Your father borrowed from me. And now," his eyes swept the small house, the empty shelves, the faded curtains. "I take what's owed." She met his stare. "You'll take nothing but the dust off your boots, mister." A slow smirk curved his lips. "You've got spirit, Miss Boone. But spirit don't pay debt." Her father coughed again, blood spotting his hand. "She's got nothing to do with this." Colt looked down at the man, the weight of judgment heavy in his silence. "You know the law, Boone. Property for payment. And from the looks of it, the only thing you've got left worth anything," he turned his eyes back to Elara, "is her." The room froze. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Elara stepped closer, her fists clenched. "You wouldn't dare." Colt's tone was steady, unreadable. "It's not about daring. It's about balance. A deal's a deal." She should have slapped him. Should have screamed. Instead, she whispered, "Then what happens now?" Quote. He leaned closer, his voice dark as smoke. "Now, you come with me." Her father tried to rise, shouting, "No." But the effort sent him into another fit of coughing. Elara dropped to his side, tears stinging her eyes. Colt waited in the doorway, hat in hand. "Your father will keep his land," he said quietly. "If you ride with me by sunrise." She looked up at him, confusion and fury warring in her heart. "And if I don't?" He put his hat back on and tipped it low. "Then Stillwater buries another Boone before noon." The door closed behind him, and the sound of his boots faded into the night. Elara sat there in silence until the candle burned to a stub. Her father's hand found hers, weak but steady. "He's not a monster," the old man rasped. "He's a man the world made hard. But don't you let him steal your soul, girl. Promise me that." When the first light of dawn crept through the window, she saddled her father's old mare and rode toward the horizon where Colt Merrick waited, leaning against his stallion like the devil himself waiting for an angel to fall. "You came," he said simply. "I came for my father," she answered. "Not for you." He nodded once, tightening his gloves. "We'll see." They rode for miles across open plains where the sun burned the sky to gold. Hours passed in silence, the only sound the rhythm of hooves and wind. Eventually, the land opened into a vast ranch, white fences, sprawling barns, and herds of cattle stretching to the horizon. It was a kingdom built by calloused hands and ruthless will. "This is Merrick Ranch," he said. "And until your father's debt is cleared, it's your home." She stared at him. "And what exactly do you expect me to do here?" He dismounted and looked her square in the eyes. "Work. Same as everyone else. You'll earn your keep. You'll learn the rules." Her laugh was sharp as glass. "Rules? You think I'll play servant to the man who bought my father's life?" Colt's gaze didn't waver. "I don't need a servant. I need someone I can trust." She blinked. "Trust? You don't even know me." I know you've got fire, he said softly. And I know fire can burn a man clean, or destroy him. For days she tried to hate him. She worked the stables, mended fences, cooked for the crew. But every time she looked his way, she saw something behind his roughness, a grief buried deep, a wound he never spoke of. One evening, as the sun dyed red behind the hills, she found him alone at the corral, bottle in hand, staring at the horizon. Why me? She asked quietly. You could have taken the land, the horses. Why take me? He didn't look at her. Because once, I had a debt too. A man saved my life, then died in my place. I promised I'd never let another family lose everything. He took a drink, voice turning bitter. But promises rot like everything else in this damned world. She stepped closer, watching his shoulders tense. So this was pity. His gaze finally met hers. No. This was something I can't name. The air between them felt heavy, charged. She should have turned away, but she didn't. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You said I'd earn my keep. What do you want from me, Colt Merrick? He reached out, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face. Just your honesty. She felt her heartbeat stumble. And if I told you I hate you, then I'd believe you, he said. But I'd still hope you're wrong. That night, thunder rolled in from the mountains. The ranch hands scattered to lock the gates, but a sudden gunshot cracked through the storm. Colt's head snapped up. Stay inside, he ordered, but Elara was already running toward the sound. 3 men on horseback were tearing through the yard, bandits, drunk on vengeance. One fired again, the bullet grazing Colt's arm. He hit the ground, blood dark against his sleeve. Elara grabbed his rifle, hands shaking but steady enough to fire a warning shot that sent the riders fleeing into the rain. When it was over, she knelt beside him, rain mixing with tears on her cheeks. You're bleeding, she whispered. He laughed through the pain. You shoot like a Merrick now. Don't you dare die on me. He looked up at her, eyes soft for the first time. Wouldn't dream of it. Days passed before he could stand again. During the time, Elara tended his wounds, read from her father's old Bible, and slowly realized something terrifying. She no longer wanted to leave. One evening, as he stood in the doorway watching her tie back her hair, he said quietly, Your father's debt, it's gone. Paid in full. She froze. What do you mean? I mean you're free to go. She turned slowly, her eyes searching his. And what if I don't want to? He hesitated, every scar on his face telling stories of loss. Then you'd better be sure, Elara Boone. 'Cause a man like me don't get second chances at love. The silence stretched between them, then she crossed the space and kissed him. Outside, the storm broke over the plains, washing the dust from the earth. And in the heart of Stillwater, a debt of blood and pain was finally paid, with something neither of them expected, redemption. Because sometimes, in the Old West, the hardest battles aren't fought with guns. They're fought with hearts that refuse to stay cold.